The girl's mother passed away suddenly from illness. Her father, addicted to gambling, squandered the family fortune. At such a young age, she shouldered the heavy burden of life. Her name is Si-young. She is a senior in college. In her spare time, she takes on any job that pays. Often, she ends up covered in bruises. Only when she talks to her mother on the phone does she show a long-lost smile. Her mother, In-soo, worked multiple jobs daily to keep the family afloat. In-soo felt heartbroken seeing her daughter juggle school and work, often sending her the money she saved by living frugally. Si-young's father, Han-jae, however, was a man of no purpose, daydreaming of getting rich quick. He squandered every penny In-soo earned through her hard work. Si-young also has a younger brother, Sang-woo. Sang-woo, too, knows how to care for his family. Both siblings are renowned as diligent, hard-working students to excel academically. Si-young feels for her brother, who scrimps and saves every day. She gives him the lion's share of the little money left in her own wallet. One day, In-soo discovered the tuition savings she'd set aside for the children had vanished. She called her husband repeatedly, but he didn't answer. In her panic, In-soo suffered a heart attack. Si-young received a text from her brother saying their mother had collapsed. She was now in the hospital undergoing emergency treatment. Desperate, she couldn't hail a taxi. In a moment of desperation, Si-young made a bold decision. Taking advantage of the motorcycle owner's inattention, Si-young hopped on the bike and sped toward the hospital. Upon arrival, the doctor informed her that her mother had passed away during surgery. Si-young struggled to accept the news. Her mother had been the backbone of the family, and Si-young's emotional anchor. The family was so poor they couldn't afford a grave for her mother. Heartbroken, Si-young carried her mother's urn to the seaside. She felt profound disappointment toward her father, believing her mother's passing was entirely his fault. Si-young refused to scatter her mother's ashes into the sea, fearing her mother would feel lonely there. She returned to her mother's apartment to pack her belongings, only to be confronted by debt collectors. Her younger brother revealed their tuition fees had also been gambled away by their father. Disillusioned, Si-young refused to shoulder her father's debts any longer. She left decisively. Si-young returned to her own apartment and retrieved her mother's urn. She clung to it, unwilling to let go. That night, her heart softened. She told her brother she'd transferred 10 million won to him to pay off their father's debts. This was every penny Si-young had painstakingly saved for next semester's living expenses. The next day, Sang-woo brought their father to move into Si-young's apartment. But how could 3 people possibly fit in such a cramped space? Sang-woo pleaded with his sister to endure until he graduated. This deeply offended Si-young, but she remembered her mother's words, "Never hate your father." After all, he was the one who gave birth to her. Si-young then went to school to process her withdrawal. She could no longer afford next semester's living expenses. A kind senior saw her preparing to withdraw and inquired about her reasons. But upon seeing the small, white flower pinned to Si-young's hair, he immediately understood what had happened at her home. He offered her a tutoring job and told her he would cover her tuition for the next semester. He said she could repay him once she earned the money. That night, Si-young lay in the cramped room with her father and younger brother. She tossed and turned, unable to sleep. Meanwhile, a man named Ki-bom was berating his wife. The reason was that his wife, Ji-sun, hadn't found a reliable tutor for their youngest son. Their son, Song-chai, was a spoiled rich kid. He disliked studying since childhood, but the massive family business demanded a qualified heir. Therefore, getting into university was an inescapable responsibility for Song-chai, and Si-young was this family's next tutor. This was the last gift her mother had given her before passing away. Seeing this garment made her miss her mother all over again. Si-young hurried to her workplace following the address. Just then, a car sped past her. Unlucky Si-young was splashed with filthy water. This infuriated Si-young. She chased after the car immediately and gave the driver a stern scolding. Si-young then found the address of her workplace. What she didn't expect was that the person who dirtied her clothes was Yu-chai, the eldest son of the employer. Upon learning the reason, Ji-sun found a new outfit and gave it to her. Si-young initially wanted to refuse, but Ji-sun insisted that wearing dirty clothes would affect her son's lessons. No tutor could last 2 hours in front of this spoiled rich kid. Si-young began teaching him. Song-chai blasted the stereo full volume, but to Song-chai's frustration, Si-young remained completely unfazed. She kept explaining things to him non-stop. After a long day's work, Si-young returned home to find her clothes washed and hung out to dry. Yet this made Si-young feel extremely uncomfortable. She hurriedly put them away. Living cramped in a tiny room with 3 people felt unbearably inconvenient to Si-young. She decided to move to the university's study center. Han-jae, once a gambling addict, had resolved to turn over a new leaf. Today he prepared dinner early, waiting for his daughter to return and eat together. But Si-young's resentment toward her father remained unresolved. Her mother's death still weighed heavily on her heart. Days passed one after another. Today, Si-young received her first tutoring paycheck. Returning home, she found her father waiting there early. He had made some kimchi to bring her, but Si-yeon didn't give him a friendly look. Seeing this, Han-jae said nothing and left first. Meanwhile, Yu-chai was tracking down the person who stole his motorcycle. After days of searching, he finally found a lead. Meanwhile, after days of dedicated effort, Si-yeon successfully improved Sang-chae's grades. Ki-bom decided to triple her pay and let her stay at his house, exclusively to tutor his son. Si-yeon naturally wouldn't pass up such an opportunity. To show his respect for Si-yeon, Ki-bom ordered his son to drive her back to her residence. This also gave the two their first chance to be alone together. Si-yeon's calm and composed nature piqued Yu-chai's curiosity. Sang-woo worried his sister was suffering in the wealthy family's household. He knew her relentless efforts to earn money or to support him and help repay their father's debts. Sang-woo didn't want his sister to struggle so hard. He decided to drop out of school and enlist in the military. However, Si-yeon firmly disagreed. Life as a guest in someone else's home was far from easy. Si-yeon rarely ate meals with her employer's family. She spent her days holed up in her room eating instant noodles. Yu-chai witnessed all of this. He went to the supermarket, bought all kinds of delicious food, and brought it to Si-yeon. Yu-chai didn't know why he was putting so much effort into caring for Si-yeon. Si-yeon, who initially had no fondness for Yu-chai, began to change unconsciously. One day, Yu-chai discovered a doll in his younger brother's room. His brother later revealed the doll belonged to Si-yeon. Yu-chai had been tracking the thief who stole his motorcycle. The doll on the suspect's backpack matched Si-yeon's exactly. Upon closer inspection, the suspect's appearance and build also closely resembled Si-yeon's. Recalling the scene from that day, he was almost certain Si-yeon was the one who stole his motorcycle. At that moment, Si-yeon was talking to herself in front of her mother's urn. Suddenly, Yu-chai burst in and confronted her, demanding if the doll was hers. Si-yeon was confused. It wasn't until she saw the photo that she remembered. Because her mother was gravely ill at the time, she had no choice but to act this way to save time. Yet to Si-yeon's surprise, Yu-chai didn't hold her accountable. Instead, he confessed his feelings to her shortly after. Si-yeon, from a poor family, knew she was unworthy of Yu-chai. She firmly rejected him, but this left Si-yeon's heart unsettled for a long time. However, Yu-chai returned and continued to pursue Si-yeon. Then Si-yeon received a call from home. It was her father, inviting her back for a meal. Han-jae gave his daughter the money he'd earned that month, telling Si-yeon to buy whatever she wanted to eat. But because of her mother's death, Si-yeon's hatred for her father hadn't diminished one bit. That day, when Si-yeon returned to her place, she was shocked to find a woman sitting there. Even more surprising, upon seeing Yu-chai, the woman embraced him and began kissing him passionately. The woman's name was Sun-hae. Her family had long been acquainted with Yu-chai's. Like Yu-chai, she had studied in America. She was also a close friend of Yu-chai's sister, Mi-king. Sun-hae had learned from Yu-chai that Si-yeon was Sang-chae's tutor. The two then left first. That scene left Si-yeon with a strange feeling in her heart. Later, Sun-hae told Yu-chai's parents she wanted to marry him. Yu-chai's parents were very satisfied with Sun-hee's family background. Sun-hee's family were professionals in the legal field. They were a perfect match for the business-oriented Yu-chai's family. The next day, Yu-chai came to Si-yeon's school and joined her for breakfast. Si-yeon studied her books while he stayed at the school with her. Yu-chai asked Si-yeon why she hadn't inquired about his relationship with Sun-hae. Si-yeon pretended not to care on the surface, but during Sang-chae's tutoring session, her mind wandered. Returning to her room, she found dinner prepared by Yu-chai waiting on the table. Ki-bom urged his son to marry Sun-hae quickly so he could hold a grandchild soon, but Yu-chai clearly told his father he only saw Sun-hae as a sister. He didn't want to inherit his father's company or be bound by the family business. That's why he'd lived abroad for years. Seeing his son defy his wishes again, Ki-bom ordered him to leave the house immediately. This time, Yu-chai's return to Korea and encounter with Si-yeon were the real reasons he delayed leaving. That day, Ji-sun discovered an urn in Si-yeon's room. Upon inquiry, she learned it contained Si-yeon's mother's ashes. Ji-sun deemed it unlucky and urged Si-yeon to dispose of it immediately. Early the next morning, Si-yeon left carrying her mother's urn. All this time, Yu-chai had been watching silently from afar. Si-yeon was heading to her mother's hometown, the place where her mother had been happiest in life. Gazing at her mother's photograph, she recalled countless moments spent together. Deeply aware of the hardships her mother endured throughout her life, Yu-chai watched Si-yeon's sorrowful state. His own heart ached deeply. Si-yeon walked ahead. Yu-chai followed quietly behind. Later, Si-yeon scattered her mother's ashes there. On the way back, Si-yeon slipped and fell. Her shoes were swept away by the stream. Barefoot, Si-yeon continued down the mount. At her most helpless moment, she saw Yu-chai in the river. Retrieving her shoes, learning that Yu-chai had quietly cared for her all along, Si-yeon was overcome with emotion and wept. She then shared many stories of her past with Yu-chai. To survive, Si-yeon had taken on numerous odd jobs. Any work that paid, she would do. Only then did Yu-chai realize how incredibly resilient Si-yeon truly was. He brought Si-yeon to a nearby resort to fill their stomachs and dry their soaked clothes. On the way back, Yuchai actively tried to cheer Seyoung up. Deeply touched, she knew Yuchai genuinely cared for her. Meanwhile, Seyoung's father was working at a nightclub. Han-jae helped a drunken VIP customer into his car. Just as he was about to safely deliver the guest home, someone suddenly grabbed him by the collar. A fight ensued, and Han-jae was arrested and taken to the police station. Seyoung, upon hearing the news, bailed her father out. Seyoung felt deeply disappointed in her father. She confronted him, demanding why he couldn't find a proper job. Han-jae explained he too wanted a better life for his family. Seyoung declared she despised a father like him. Han-jae was heartbroken by her words. He too longed for his family's happiness, but reality always defied his hopes. Seyoung ran alone to the riverbank and wept bitterly. She hated her father intensely. Meanwhile, Sun-hae was flipping through photos of Seyoung on Yuchai's desk. When Seyoung returned, Yuchai's family seemed to be waiting for her. Ji-sun demanded an explanation for why her photos were in Yuchai's room. Yuchai revealed he'd stayed in Korea all these years for Seyoung. She was the woman he loved. Ki-bom expressed wanting to ask Seyoung something. Ji-sun then inquired about Seyoung's father's occupation. Under everyone's gaze, Seyoung found it difficult to speak. She could only say her father had passed away. It was this lie that would cause Seyoung immense suffering in the future. Seyoung stated she would move out after finishing her class that day. She declared she had no relationship with Yuchai. Seyoung then packed her belongings, preparing to leave this place filled with her fond memories. Early the next morning, Yuchai waited for Seyoung at the door. He hoped she would give him time to persuade his parents, but Seyoung told Yuchai she wouldn't beg anyone to accept her, nor would she tolerate any looks of contempt. When Song-chai learned Seyoung intended to quit her tutoring job, he immediately had his mother raise her pay. Faced with her son's persistence, Ji-sun was helpless. Later, Ki-bom discussed with Seyoung, hoping she would continue tutoring Song-chai, but could no longer stay at their home. He then had his son help Seyoung move her belongings. Seeing Seyoung living in such a cramped room left Song-chai feeling deeply uneasy. After returning, Yuchai asked his younger brother for Seyoung's address. However, Song-chai stated he had promised Seyoung confidentiality. Depressed, Yuchai went to a bar to vent his frustrations to friends. That day, Yuchai visited his father's company. He struck a deal with his father. If his father agreed to let him marry Seyoung, he would join the company. Ki-bom was shocked. His son, who once despised joining the company, was now willing to compromise for a woman. Yet he didn't deliberate long. In his heart, securing the company's succession was paramount. He stated that as long as they formalized their agreement in a written contract and obtained notarization, he would accept Yuchai's request. Yuchai then informed Seyoung that his parents had consented to their marriage. Seyoung found it hard to believe, but she was tormented by her earlier lie about her father's death. Seyoung was at a loss, unsure how to proceed. In class, Seyoung was distracted. Images of her father kept flooding her mind. On her way home, Seyoung received a call from Ji-sun. After her son's persistent pleading, Ji-sun finally agreed to Seyoung and Yuchai's marriage. Seyoung desperately wanted to confess her lie to Ji-sun, but before she could speak, Ji-sun declared that being an orphan was better than having disgraceful parents. Seyoung felt torn inside. She told Ji-sun she hadn't fully considered marriage yet, and hoped for time to sort out her thoughts. Seyoung's stance infuriated Ji-sun. That evening, she gathered the family, and ordered her son to marry Seyoung immediately. With no further delay, later, Yuchai arranged to meet Seyoung. He confessed he had abandoned his dreams for her, taking over the family business instead. He pleaded with her not to reject him, yet Seyoung didn't immediately agree to Yuchai's proposal. The next day, Seyoung continued preparing for her tutoring session with Song-chai. When she saw Yuchai packing his luggage to fly to America, her heart ached deeply. This missed encounter might be a lifetime apart. Before boarding, Yuchai still hadn't waited for Seyoung. Seyoung felt an emptiness in her heart. She recalled the moments she'd shared with Yuchai. Only after Yuchai had truly left, did Seyoung realize how much her heart ached. Just then, her younger brother Sang-woo happened to pass by. Seeing his sister crying so bitterly, he asked what had happened. Seyoung confided that the person she loved had left, and she hadn't tried to stop him. Her brother's comfort eased some of her heartache. After school that day, Seyoung remained deeply depressed. Suddenly, Yuchai's voice came from behind her. He said that if she regretted her decision, he would forgive her. At that moment, Seyoung let go of all her reservations. She only hoped Yuchai wouldn't leave her again. That day, Seyoung had made up her mind. She went to her father's place and announced she was going to study abroad in America. Then Seyoung agreed to Yuchai's marriage proposal, yet a knot remained tightly tied in her heart. Sang-woo was shocked to learn his sister had previously lied about their father's death. Seyoung explained she didn't want her father to cause her to miss out on the man she loved. She hoped her brother could attend her wedding. Yet Sang-woo found his sister's actions utterly baffling. That day, Yuchai prepared a surprise for Seyoung. A diamond ring appeared in her coffee cup. Yu Chai then confessed his love to Si-young. Early that morning, Han Jae began preparing a feast for his daughter, who was supposedly leaving for abroad. Sang-woo knew this might be the last meal the family of three would share together. His sister, soon to marry into a wealthy family, would never return. Unaware of the truth, Han Jae handed Si-young money for her overseas studies and urged her to take good care of herself. After the meal, he stood on the rooftop watching his daughter depart. Sang-woo declared he no longer had a sister named Si-young. Si-young was heartbroken upon hearing this. Her younger brother, who had been her only family since childhood, was the most important person in her life. She didn't want to lose him, but just as Si-young was about to catch up to her brother, she stopped. She turned and walked back. Sang-woo desperately wished his sister wouldn't abandon their father. Back home, Han Jae was heartbroken upon seeing the money Si-young had left behind. It turned out Si-young had taken the pocket money her father gave her, but had saved the larger sum she had accumulated herself. Returning to her residence, Si-young crouched by the door and wept bitterly. One lie had plunged the entire family into agony. She hoped her deceased mother could understand her actions. That day, Han Jae, dressed formally, gazed up at the sky, for today was the day his daughter flew to America. Yet at that moment, Si-young, dressed in a wedding gown, awaited the ceremony. Han Jae had secured a job today as a stand-in relative at the wedding. When he saw the bride's name was also Si-young, he froze. The ceremony was about to begin. Si-young, with no family members present, grew increasingly nervous. Soon, Si-young married into a wealthy family, and she had a husband who deeply loved her. Sitting in the audience, Han Jae could scarcely believe his eyes when he saw the bride. He instantly understood his daughter didn't want him in her life anymore. 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. Si-young had become a judge. Yu Chai, through his own efforts, had successfully risen to become the vice president of the family conglomerate. The two were exceptionally close. For 3 years, Han Jae hadn't disturbed his daughter's life. He worked tirelessly every day to repay the debts he'd once incurred. Even at his advanced age, he still worked as a mover. Meanwhile, Ji-sun complained to her friend that no matter how hard she tried, she felt distant from Si-young. She wanted to find fault with her daughter-in-law, but Si-young did everything flawlessly. Si-young's younger brother Sang-woo was now dating Mi-kyung, Si-young's sister-in-law. Neither had ever inquired about the other's family background. That day, when Si-young finished work, Yu Chai was already waiting for her. Their affection was truly enviable. That morning, Han Jae dressed early, preparing to go hiking. Sang-woo wanted to accompany his father, but Han Jae refused. Sang-woo was curious why his father went hiking alone once a month. He noticed his father showed no interest in his sister's recent life. He wondered if his father had forgotten about her. Meanwhile, Yu Chai was preparing to go golfing with Si-young. At that moment, Han Jae was quietly watching from a corner. For 3 years, he had come here every month to see his daughter. Knowing she was happy and content was all he needed. Si-young was happy in her marriage. Beyond work, she enjoys sports with her husband. They savored delicious meals together, with her beloved by her side. Si-young, who had known life's harshness since childhood, experienced the happiest 3 years of her life. After each visit with his daughter, Han Jae would come alone to the mountain. Here, he could feel a long-lost peace. These past 3 years, he had worked tirelessly. The debts he once owed were now paid off, but he still needed to earn more money. Because his son hadn't married yet, Si-young, who had no desire to reconnect with old relatives and friends, unexpectedly ran into her high school classmate Sunmi that day. This encounter gave Si-young an uneasy feeling. The more she tried to hide things, the easier they seemed to be discovered. That night, Han Jae had a bad dream. In his dream, Si-young was being bullied by her mother-in-law. He rushed forward to protect his daughter. Sang-woo, seeing this, immediately shook his father awake from his sleep talking. Worried about his daughter, he hurried to her in-law's house early the next morning. Unexpectedly, he ran into his son-in-law, who was out for his morning jog. Just then, a speeding car was about to hit Yu Chai. He threw himself in front of it. The impact sent him flying. Si-young, worried her husband hadn't returned, called him urgently, but no one answered. A terrible feeling gripped her heart. Still in her pajamas, she rushed out. When she reached the accident site, Si-young saw her husband's phone lying on the ground. Fortunately, Han Jae was unharmed. After making arrangements, Yu Chai immediately telegraphed Si-young to reassure her. Still, Si-young couldn't shake her worry. She insisted on going to the hospital to bring him home. When Han Jae saw Yu Chai, he instantly tensed up. He dreaded being recognized as Si-young's father, though the doctor's initial diagnosis was that he was fine. Yu Chai insisted on a full body scan for peace of mind. On the way to the examination, he bolted straight down the stairs. Han Jae didn't want his presence to disrupt his daughter's life. At that moment, Si-young also drove to the hospital. Father and daughter passed each other without meeting. Alone that night, Si-young began flipping through photos of her father and brother in her phone's album. Si-young, who hadn't contacted her father or brother in 3 years, had actually been silently watching over them all this time. Seeing that her father and brother were both doing well, put her mind at ease. However, her brother discovered everything she had been doing. Sang-woo asked his sister not to appear in front of him and their father anymore. Si-young had her father's birthday saved in her phone, seeing that her father was about to turn another year older. Just then, Song-chae asked Si-young to come to his room to help him rehearse lines. When Yoo-chae returned from work, he found Si-young gone. Her phone kept ringing incessantly. He picked up the phone and glanced at it. He happened to see the birthday of his father saved in Si-young's phone. That day, Yoo-chae asked his mother for a favor. Ji-sun reluctantly agreed. After work, Si-young found Yoo-chae waiting for her at the door long before she arrived. Yoo-chae said he had a surprise for her, but when Si-young got home and saw this surprise, she felt like she was about to break down. Unbeknownst to her, Yoo-chae had planned to pay respects to a father-in-law he had never met. Si-young was utterly at a loss. Overwhelmed by emotion, she fainted on the spot. Watching his sleeping wife, Yoo-chae realized he should have discussed this with her beforehand. When Si-young awoke, seeing her exhausted husband fast asleep, she felt deeply guilty. There should be no deception or secrets between spouses. Si-young was torn inside. That day, Si-young told her in-laws she wanted to resign from her judge position. She felt unsuited for the role. She wanted to become a lawyer to help those in need. But her mother-in-law strongly opposed this decision. Surprisingly, her father-in-law fully supported Si-young's choice. Ji-sun couldn't understand why her husband was so lenient toward his daughter-in-law. Ki-bom believed Si-young had made Yoo-chae more accomplished than anyone expected. He admired her intelligence. Yoo-chae, too, was deeply impressed by his wife's sharp mind. He asked Si-young to help him figure out how to thank the man who had saved him. What Si-young didn't know was that the uncle her husband spoke of was actually her own father. She suggested arranging a job for this man within their family's conglomerate. After investigating, Yoo-chae located the uncle's friend and offered him a sum of money to do him a favor. It turned out Yoo-chae planned to hire Han-jae as a security guard at his parking lot and offered him a high salary of 5 million won. Han-jae was stunned upon hearing this. To save money for his son's house, he arrived early at the company for the interview. Unexpectedly, the manager hired him on the spot and scheduled him to start work immediately that day. Upon seeing Han-jae, he became visibly nervous. Learning Yoo-chae intended this as a favor repayment, Han-jae reluctantly accepted the job. That day, seeing her brother in the hospital, Si-young dared not reveal herself. Sang-woo feared disrupting his sister's privileged life and turned to leave. Si-young hurried after him. Wearing high heels, she stumbled and fell. Sang-woo rushed to help her up. Just as Si-young was about to ask about their father's well-being, she noticed someone approaching. Sang-woo quickly excused himself. An inadvertent lie prevented the siblings from recognizing each other. Sang-woo, too, missed his sister deeply. Seeing her injured leg filled him with heartache. Inside the car, Si-young wept bitterly. Though she now had a devoted husband and an enviable life of luxury, the absence of family bonds tormented her. Returning home from work, Yoo-chae found his wife still absent. He urgently called her, but a hospital nurse answered. It turned out that when Si-young saw her brother, overwhelmed with emotion, she dropped her phone. Panicked, Yoo-chae rushed to the hospital to search, yet still found no trace of his wife. Meanwhile, Sang-woo remained at the window watching his sister, wondering why she hadn't left yet. Yoo-chae searched the hospital parking lot for his wife's car. Sure enough, he spotted her car there. He asked her how she ended up in the hospital. Si-young lied, saying she'd accidentally fallen asleep while thinking about a case. Then Yoo-chae noticed her injured leg. He embraced her tenderly, comforting her. Her husband's care made Si-young feel even more guilty. She desperately wanted to tell him everything. Living with this deception and secrecy had truly worn her down, both physically and mentally. After seeing her sister follow her brother-in-law away, Sang-woo finally felt relieved. Back home, Yoo-chae personally bandaged his wife's wound. Si-young was truly terrified of losing this perfect husband before her. Though she wanted to confess everything, she still lacked the courage to speak. That day, Si-young drove to her husband's company. Han-jae was working in the parking lot there at that moment. Father and daughter passed each other without meeting. That day, Ji-sun came to Si-young's workplace to find her. It turned out she had come to take Si-young for a gynecological checkup. 3 years into their marriage, Si-young and Yoo-chae still had no children. The mother-in-law suspected Si-young might have health issues. After work, Yoo-chae spotted Si-young's father by the roadside near the company. He then invited Han-jae to drink with him to ease his mind. Meanwhile, after the doctor's initial examination, Si-young showed no physical issues. Yet her mother-in-law's next move left Si-young deeply anxious. It turned out Mi-king worked at this very hospital. Ji-sun planned to secretly visit her daughter, but Si-young's brother supposedly studying abroad also worked at this hospital. If her mother-in-law encountered her brother, the lies she'd been telling would surely be exposed. Mi-king was startled to see her mother. She urgently called Si-young, instructing her to bring her mother to the parking lot to wait. Mi-king, who had long concealed her true identity, feared her mother's appearance would expose her secret. Si-young remained unaware that that Mi-king was in a relationship with her own brother. Ji-sun resolved to arrange a marriage between Mi-king and the son of the hospital's director. Mi-king vehemently opposed this plan. She then sought out Sang-woo, hoping he could spare time for her the next evening, as she had something to discuss. Meanwhile, Yu-chai had drunk a bit too much today. He told Si-young he'd been drinking with the uncle who saved him, and for some reason, drinking with this man had been surprisingly enjoyable. What Si-young never imagined was that the uncle her husband mentioned was actually her own father. The next day, Mi-king arrives at the meeting spot arranged with Sang-woo. Unexpectedly, when Sang-woo reaches the entrance of the rendezvous location, he sees his brother-in-law Yu-chai instead. It turns out this was all Mi-king's plan. Mi-king hopes her brother can help her. However, Sang-woo overhears the entire conversation between Yu-chai and Mi-king. Sang-woo instantly realized Mi-king's identity as a wealthy heiress and his sister's sister-in-law. Sang-woo was suddenly at a loss. Meanwhile, Mi-king waited anxiously in the restaurant for Sang-woo. Having always presented herself as a poor girl, she worried about his reaction upon learning the truth. Suddenly, she received a call from Sang-woo. He explained his father had fallen ill and he needed to rush home immediately. Mi-king then visited Sang-woo's father with gifts, but Sang-woo harshly accused her of hiding her identity. Returning home, Mi-king was heartbroken. She feared Sang-woo would break up with her. Her brother's comfort eased her pain somewhat. That day, Si-young saw her younger brother again at the hospital. She immediately grew tense. Yu-chai watched, confused. The siblings pretended not to know each other as they passed by. Back at the office, Si-young's heart finally felt at ease, but the pain from the lies seemed to grow deeper. After returning home, Si-young locked herself in the study. Yu-chai sensed his wife had become unusually sensitive since coming back from the hospital. He assumed she was worried about the test results. 3 years into their marriage, they still had no children. The couple went together for medical checkups. That night, Si-young had a terrifying dream. In it, her brother grabbed her and revealed their true relationship. Her husband also exposed her lie. Seeing Si-young drenched in sweat and talking in her sleep, Yu-chai grew worried and urged her to go to the hospital for tests. Si-young was terrified of losing her husband. She hoped this lie would never be exposed. Meanwhile, Sang-woo was constantly thinking of his sister. Ever since learning his girlfriend was his sister's sister-in-law, Sang-woo decided to break up with Mi-king. He left immediately afterward. Back home, Sang-woo looked at his sister's photo. Overcome with sadness, he couldn't let his actions disrupt his sister's hard-won happiness. That day, Hang-jae was working at Yu-chai's company when he overheard colleagues gossiping that he got the job through connections, and that it should have gone to someone else. Perhaps overcome by emotion, he didn't notice his daughter's photo slipping from his pocket. Later, Hang-jae lied that a friend had fallen ill and needed him to help manage their factory, suggesting he might have to quit his current job. Seeing this, Yu-chai respected his decision. Later, when Yu-chai visited the company to inspect the new cotton jackets, he suddenly remembered Hang-jae's thin clothing. He decided to give him one of the new jackets, but when he went to the employee changing room, he found Hang-jae had already left. An employee then discovered the photo of Si-young Hang-jae had left behind. Yu-chai was stunned by the discovery. Meanwhile, Hang-jae was already on a bus heading home. Back in the office, Yu-chai stared at his wife's photo. Deeply puzzled, he then called his wife, but Si-young was in court at that moment. Her phone was turned off. Yu-chai had no choice but to request Hang-jae's resume from HR. He then went to the address listed on the resume. However, the address listed was a roadside supermarket. Yu-chai inquired with the shop owner about Hang-jae, since Hang-jae had previously instructed the owner not to reveal his real address. The owner lied, claiming Hang-jae had moved away. Yu-chai didn't fully believe the shop owner. He began asking around the neighborhood. Coincidentally, he managed to locate the landlord of the apartment Hang-jae had rented. Yu-chai learned some details about Hang-jae from the landlord. That evening, Hang-jae took out an album and looked at photos of his wife and daughter. This brought back memories of events from years past. Si-young handed her mother a sum of money and told her to use it to repay the loan shark debt her father had incurred. Si-young pleaded with her father to stop fantasizing about getting rich overnight through business ventures. Yet Hang-jae refused to heed her warnings. He forced Si-young, who should have been attending university, to drop out repeatedly and work to pay off his debts. Now aware of certain truths about his wife, Yu-chai couldn't even bring himself to return home. Si-young called her husband, but there was no answer. She could only send him a text message. Yu-chai's mind was in turmoil at that moment, because he discovered his most trusted wife might not be as reliable as he thought. When Yu-chai finally returned home, Si-young was already asleep. Watching his wife's peaceful face brought back many memories. The father she claimed was deceased was actually still alive and living with his son. If Hang-jae truly was Si-young's father, then everything suddenly made sense. Waking up in the morning, Si-young found Yu-chai absent. She learned from her mother-in-law that Yu-chai had left for the office early. Yu-chai now held his wife's household registration copy in his hands. It clearly stated her father was Hang-jae and that he was not deceased. Devastated, Yu-chai recalled past events The marriage registration had been handled by his wife alone. Using his documents, it should have been something they did together. Si-young had brushed it off with an excuse. At the time, Yu-chai hadn't thought much of it. Looking back now, it became clear his wife had been lying to him all along. Being deceived by the one you love most is excruciatingly painful. Unable to return home, Yu-chai met friends for drinks to drown his sorrows. His mother-in-law also noticed something seemed off between her son and daughter-in-law. Si-young waited until midnight for her husband to return. Sitting on the sofa, she dozed off while waiting. When she woke, it was already past 1 a.m. To her surprise, upon returning to the bedroom, she found Yu-chai already asleep. This left Si-young feeling deeply unsettled. Back at the office, Yu-chai received a call from his sister. Mi-king pleaded with her brother to help win back her ex-boyfriend. After much deliberation, Yu-chai dialed Sang-woo's number. He hoped they could meet and talk. But after waiting a long time, Sang-woo still didn't show up. Growing impatient, Yu-chai went to the hospital. When Sang-woo saw him, he hurriedly left in a panic. Yu-chai learned from Sang-woo's colleague that Sang-woo was deliberately avoiding him. Meanwhile, Sang-woo wandered aimlessly in the pouring rain. He didn't want to ruin his sister's happiness because of himself. However, his drenched figure was spotted by Ho-ding, a girl who had secretly admired him for 3 years. Finally gathering her courage, she handed Sang-woo a blanket. Sang-woo's phone kept ringing in the car. He knew it was Mi-king calling. Perhaps desperate to escape Mi-king's clutches, Sang-woo proposed marriage to Ho-ding. The next day, Yu-chai enlisted a friend to investigate Si-young's background. The results came back quickly. Si-young's father, Han-jae, worked as a delivery driver for a restaurant. Her younger brother Sang-woo worked as a surgical resident at a hospital. Upon hearing this, Yu-chai instantly understood. Her sister's ex-boyfriend was none other than Sang-woo. Knowing the whole truth, Yu-chai arranged to meet her sister. He hoped she wouldn't remain immersed in the pain of their breakup day after day. Drunk and disheveled, Yu-chai returned home. Si-young tried to help her husband take off his coat, but Yu-chai stopped her. She asked her husband why he was treating her this way, but Yu-chai harshly berated her instead. Si-young didn't know what she had done wrong. Today was the day Si-young was scheduled for infertility tests at the hospital. She then received a call from her husband saying he couldn't accompany her. Unexpectedly, the reason Si-young hadn't gotten pregnant in 3 years of marriage was because she had been using contraception all along. During Yu-chai's dinner with business partners, a colleague from Si-young's law firm happened to be present, who revealed Si-young had been working late at the office and hadn't gone to the hospital. Returning home, Yu-chai confronted Si-young about lying to him. Meanwhile, Mi-king remained immersed in the pain of heartbreak. After work, she wandered aimlessly through the streets. Her path led her to Yu-chai and his father's residence. Finding no response, Mi-king walked straight inside. Gazing at the pink bed, Mi-king began to recall certain events. Suddenly, she discovered an album tucked beneath the bed. Opening it, she was utterly stunned. There, she saw photographs of her sister-in-law. Meanwhile, Yu-chai intended to reveal everything he knew, but ultimately held back. He feared revealing the truth would shatter their marriage completely. This day marked Sang-woo's wedding. Both families held a simple meeting ceremony, but when the bride's family mentioned Si-young, Han-jae had to lie, claiming his daughter was studying abroad and couldn't return for her brother's wedding. On Christmas Eve, Si-young invited Yu-chai to the villa where they shared beautiful memories. Yu-chai tried to decline, but Si-young insisted she would wait for him. Meanwhile, she was preparing a delicious meal, eagerly anticipating her husband's arrival. She planned to reveal all her secrets to Yu-chai that day. Yet, after waiting for a long time, Yu-chai still hadn't shown up. Yu-chai was numbing himself with frantic running. On a weekend, when Si-young was resting alone at home, she received a call from Yu-chai. Yu-chai claimed he had urgent matters to attend to, and asked Si-young to attend a wedding in his place. Si-young never imagined the groom at this wedding would be her own brother. The moment Sang-woo saw his sister, he urgently called her to leave. Si-young, upon hearing this, hurriedly ran away. Her heart was filled with a complex mix of emotions, knowing her brother was getting married. Yet, unable to attend, Sang-woo had finally married. Ho-ding had also finally married the man she loved most. Ultimately, Si-young sneaked back. Standing in a corner, she watched her brother and father from afar. Her heart was filled with self-reproach and guilt. Yet all of this had been deliberately orchestrated by Yu-chai. He hoped Si-young would come clean to him on her own. At that moment, Si-young sat alone by the riverbank, weeping. The husband who once deeply loved her had now changed his heart. She had abandoned her brother and father for love. Now it seemed both love and family had deserted her. She couldn't understand how things had come to this. Meanwhile, Mi-king, upon learning of Sang-woo's marriage, was also venting her fury. Her friend Sun-hae, seeing this, asked what had happened. Mi-king blamed Sun-hye, saying if she had married her own brother, then she wouldn't have had to break up. Mi-king's words stirred unexpected thoughts in Sun-hye, who had secretly loved Yu-chai for years. That day, Si-young opened the combination lock box to take out her savings. Hearing her mother-in-law call out to her, Si-young rushed out without even locking the box. Sang-woo, returning from his honeymoon, arranged to meet his sister. Si-young intended to give her brother all the money she'd saved over the years, but he politely declined. Si-young didn't want to reveal her current situation to her brother. In front of him, she had to pretend everything was fine. That way, he wouldn't worry. That day, Si-young stayed late at the office again. She knew Yu-chai had just returned from a business trip. To avoid awkwardness, she stayed at the office a little longer. Yu-chai placed his suitcase in the cabinet and accidentally knocked Si-young's lockbox to the floor. This revealed the medication she had hidden. During dinner that evening, the family discussed Si-young's infertility. Suddenly, Yu-chai remembered something. He sat at the computer and searched for the medication's name, discovering it was actually contraceptive drugs. He was instantly furious. He immediately confronted Si-young and demanded a divorce. Si-young begged her husband not to leave her, but Yu-chai was resolute. The next day, Si-young looked at her wedding photo with her husband. It made her heart make a decision. Yu-chai, meanwhile, looked utterly haggard. Si-young went to Yu-chai's company. She asked him again if there was any chance to reconcile, but Yu-chai firmly insisted on the divorce. Truthfully, both were tormented by this outcome. Meanwhile, after Sun-hye discovered the tension between Si-young and Yu-chai, she began secretly investigating Si-young and Sang-woo. Sun-hye first followed Sang-woo to his hospital workplace, suspecting he and Si-young knew each other. Si-young and Yu-chai began living separately, watching her husband sleeping soundly in the study. Si-young felt a deep ache in her heart. That day, Sun-hye received the results of her investigation into Si-young and Sang-woo, conducted by a private detective. She was shocked to discover that Sang-woo was actually Si-young's biological younger brother. Upon learning this truth, her greatest wish was for Si-young to be expelled from her in-laws' home. She then went to the hospital and revealed this secret to Mi-king. Mi-king begged Sun-hye to keep it confidential. She didn't want this matter to disrupt the family's peace. Mi-king warned Sun-hye not to try to win Yu-chai's favor through such means, but Sun-hye wasn't about to let it go. The next day, she went to Si-young's office looking for trouble. However, Si-young refused to engage with her. That evening, Sun-hye used work as an excuse to find Yu-chai. She lied about having just been dumped and invited Yu-chai to dinner. At the table, Sun-hye kept prying into Yu-chai and Si-young's relationship. This made Yu-chai feel extremely uncomfortable. He quickly made an excuse and left early. That day, the undeterred Sun-hye arranged to meet Si-young again. She exposed all the truths Si-young had desperately hidden. Sun-hye used this to threaten Si-young into leaving Yu-chai. Si-young returned home. The very thing she most wanted to conceal had been discovered by the person who hated her most. This left the usually composed Si-young somewhat at a loss. She looked at Yu-chai, momentarily unsure of what to do. That day, Ji-sun came to Si-young's workplace to find her. To her surprise, she saw Sun-hye working there too. This left Ji-sun somewhat stunned. That evening, she questioned her daughter about Sun-hye. Why hadn't she been told Sun-hye and Si-young worked at the same company? Mi-king lied, claiming it was just a coincidence. Inside the room, Si-young had already prepared the divorce papers in advance. Ji-sun grew increasingly suspicious. The next day, she called Sun-hye to arrange a meeting. Ji-sun suspected Sun-hye was trying to sabotage her son and daughter-in-law's marriage. She warned Sun-hye to stay away from Yu-chai. Sun-hye was furious upon hearing this. She resented everyone being so kind to Si-young. Meanwhile, Yu-chai met with a close friend. He declared his intent to continue living with Si-young and no longer pursue her deception about his death. At the office, Si-young suddenly received a call from her father-in-law. He confronted her about her father and brother. Yu-chai, who knew the truth, urgently pulled Si-young back into the room. Upon learning Yu-chai had long known her secret, she completely broke down. She then confessed to her father-in-law that her father was indeed still alive. Si-young, whose pride was immense, could no longer bear to stay. Gathering her luggage, she prepared to leave. No matter how Yu-chai tried to stop her, Si-young turned a deaf ear and stormed out. Ki-bon angrily berated his son for being deceived for 3 years. He ordered his son to finalize the divorce with Si-young immediately, to prevent her scandalous deeds from being exposed by the media. Yet Yu-chai truly loved Si-young. He refused to let it end like this. Meanwhile, Si-young was alone in the hotel. The deeper the night grew, the more bitter her heart felt. The next day, Si-young resigned from her law firm job first. Back then, joining this firm had been entirely Yu-chai's plan. She wanted no further ties to him. Si-young then went to a real estate agency. She needed to find a place to live first. Then she would look for an office. She asked her friend if they should start a law firm together. Then she recounted everything that had happened to her friend. Si-young decided to live alone from now on. Yu-chai kept calling Si-young, but her phone remained switched off. He then called Si-young's workplace, only to learn she had already resigned. The next day, at the group meeting, Yu-chai seemed distracted. Ki-bon watched helplessly. Later, his secretary informed Yu-chai that Si-young had requested a meeting. Seyoung arranged to meet Yu-chai at a coffee shop. Yu-chai wanted to know the truth behind Seyoung's lies, but the stubborn Seyoung refused to explain. What hurt her even more was realizing her father had silently protected her for 3 years. Seyoung now felt too ashamed to face her husband. Meanwhile, Han Jae unexpectedly learned from his daughter-in-law that Seyoung had run away from home. He worried whether his daughter had been discovered by her in-laws. At the same time, Mi-king informed Sang-woo that her family had learned about his sister's situation. Sang-woo grew deeply concerned for his sister, yet Seyoung's phone remained switched off. That day, Ki-bom convened another family meeting, urging his son to finalize the divorce proceedings with Seyoung immediately. Everything must be settled before the media exposes it. The next day, Seyoung sought out her younger brother. She now felt a weight lifted from her shoulders. Seyoung stated that even if Yu-chai was willing to forgive her, she no longer wanted to endure that life of awkwardness. At that moment, Yu-chai stared blankly at the divorce agreement. Though he deeply regretted parting with Seyoung, he ultimately signed the papers. As Yu-chai prepared to leave with the divorce agreement, Han Jae found him. They went to a street stall together, where Han Jae revealed the feud between himself and his daughter. Yu-chai finally understood why Seyoung had lied. Back home, Yu-chai stared at their wedding photo. He truly missed Seyoung at that moment. Early the next morning, Yu-chai went to Seyoung's former workplace to inquire about her whereabouts, but none of her colleagues knew. Yu-chai then sought out Sang-woo to ask about Seyoung's location. Meanwhile, Seyoung was helping a friend organize their newly rented office space. Just then, she received a text from Yu-chai. Yu-chai wanted to start over with Seyoung, but Seyoung firmly refused. The next day, Ki-bom asked his son why he hadn't gone to finalize the divorce yet. Yu-chai said he and Seyoung had agreed to go to the courthouse today. Later, Seyoung arrived at the courthouse. Yu-chai had been waiting there early. In the end, Seyoung divorced him. She went to the place where she and Yu-chai had shared beautiful memories. Those happy times were still vivid in her mind. Despite feeling 1,000 regrets, she chose to let go. After the divorce, Seyoung's first act was to change her hairstyle. It seemed only this could help her forget the past. That day, Seyoung's law firm finally opened. She planned to deliver rice cakes to her upstairs and downstairs neighbors. Little did she know, the photographer downstairs angrily accused her of disturbing them. What Seyoung never expected was that this photographer was someone she once knew. He was the man who had pursued her years ago. Meanwhile, Yu-chai was rushing to Seyoung's office with a bouquet of roses. Unexpectedly, Yu-chai walked in carrying the flower basket. This left Seyoung utterly surprised. She couldn't fathom why Yu-chai had suddenly appeared here. Just then, a colleague informed Seyoung that a client had arrived. Seeing this, Yu-chai decided to leave first. Seeing Seyoung again filled Yu-chai with immense joy. Seyoung didn't realize that Yu-chai had been quietly supporting her behind the scenes, helping the newly opened firm secure its first clients. That morning, Yu-chai arrived early at Seyoung's office. Seyoung noticed and invited Yu-chai outside to talk. Seyoung asked Yu-chai why he still acted this way after their divorce. Yu-chai hoped they could remain friends. He encouraged Seyoung to be herself. That evening, Seyoung returned home. Soon after, her friend arrived. While sorting through things, her friend discovered Han Jae's name on Seyoung's wedding invitation. Seyoung was utterly shocked. She called to inquire which company had handled the guest list for her wedding. The next day, Seyoung went to that agency. Sure enough, she found her father's registration information. Recalling that her father had been present at her wedding, Seyoung felt deeply guilty toward him. She then went to her father's residence. Seyoung's heart was filled with remorse. Ultimately, she forgave her father and admitted her own mistakes. After years, father and daughter finally resolved their misunderstanding. That day, Sang-woo invited his sister to visit their mother's hometown for ancestral rites. The entire family went together. Seyoung readily agreed, knowing her brother wanted more family time together. This idea had come from Ho-ding. Ho-ding felt profoundly happy at that moment. That evening, Han Jae suffered excruciating abdominal pain. The next day, he didn't tell his family about his physical discomfort. Seyoung was filled with anticipation for this family outing. On the road, Han Jae felt increasingly unwell. After stopping at a rest area, he went to the restroom and began vomiting. Upon exiting, he still remembered to buy his daughter her favorite walnut cookies. Soon, the pain overwhelmed him, and he collapsed unconscious. Doctors swiftly transferred Han Jae to the intensive care unit. Seyoung feared she might never see her father again. After emergency treatment, Han Jae temporarily passed the critical stage. For now, they could only continue monitoring his condition. Seyoung was in a daze. She asked Yu-chai to go home first. Yu-chai also felt deeply guilty. He recalled that Han Jae's condition stemmed from the lingering risks of saving him that day. If his father-in-law were to pass away, he didn't know how he could ever face Seyoung again. At that moment, Seyoung's heart was filled only with the hope that her father would recover quickly. Yu-chai, however, was overlooked by her. Yu-chai numbed himself with frantic work, leaving no time to think about Si-young. Si-young, tending to her father in the hospital, stared at her phone, wondering why Yu-chai hadn't called once. Unbeknownst to her, Yu-chai had been watching her silently from afar. Unaware of this, Si-young remained bitter over Yu-chai's coldness. Meanwhile, Yu-chai sought only to drown his sorrows in drink. Hoping to forget Si-young, when Si-young returned home, she discovered Yu-chai sitting outside her door. Yu-chai had called for a designated driver. Si-young caught up to him, offering to drive him back, but he refused. He turned and walked away. Si-young didn't try to stop him. On her way home, Si-young suddenly remembered something. She ran straight back out. Seeing Yu-chai's car hadn't driven away, she began searching the area. When she spotted Yu-chai's lonely silhouette, Si-young recklessly confessed her love. Hearing this, Yu-chai rushed toward her without hesitation. In that moment, both realized the other was indispensable to them. Meanwhile, good news came from the hospital. Han-jae's blood pressure had stabilized. Everything was moving in a positive direction. Soon after, Han-jae was discharged from the hospital. At that moment, Ki-bom personally came to visit him at the hospital. He wanted to speak with Han-jae alone. Ki-bom first expressed his gratitude to Han-jae for saving his son's life. The other matter was discussing the possibility of holding a new wedding ceremony for Si-young and Yu-chai, one attended by all their family members. Soon after, both couples held new weddings with their families present. Making up for past regrets, Si-young looked especially beautiful that day, with her father by her side. Ultimately, both couples successfully completed their weddings witnessed by their families. 2 years later, Si-young and Yu-chai had an adorable daughter. Her in-laws took care of the child for Si-young every day. That day, Si-young and Yu-chai brought their daughter to visit her father. Han-jae was overjoyed upon seeing his granddaughter. Just as the family was preparing to eat, Ho-ting nearly vomited at the smell of meat. After going to the hospital for a checkup, Ho-ting discovered she was expecting twins. Sang-woo was overjoyed upon hearing the news. The two finally had the fruit of their love. On the rocking chair handcrafted by her father, Si-young cradled her daughter, basking in the warm sunlight. To film ends here. See you next time.